The Alt Marksman, known for being the worst weapon in Ultrakill, and yeah, I'm going through the entire game with this. I hate myself. The rules are extremely simple. Alt Marksman only. I can use the Whiplash to grab skulls and stuff and get up close to enemies. And I have the Knuckle Blaster equipped so that I can pick up skulls and progress through the game. And yeah, that's it. Just the Alt Marksman. Prelude to Violence. P1 and P2 included. And, oh god, that was this awful. The Prelude acted as a warning as to what I was getting into. 0-1 wasn't that hard, it was basically just a flashbang of what I was even using. Not being able to shoot coins as fast as they came out, it basically made me rely on headshots a lot more than coins, which is arguably a fine thing, but I still do like being able to, you know, use an intended mechanic without that much struggle, but oh well, can't do anything about it. Save me, please. I also started using glass panels a lot more than usual, trying to get as many kills as possible with as few shots as possible, as to save my sanity. Also, the lack of a feedbacker for this entire run was definitely detrimental. Maurice was fine. Nothing really of order. Oh, also, around this time I was like, yeah, I'm doing S-rank kills, which ended up being an absolute disaster because, oh god, that led to so many problems down the road.
Nice.
0-2 was more or less the same, trying to get as many kills as possible with environmental settings, and suffering a lot. I really began to hate this, and yeah, only 2 levels through. So you can tell how I was starting to feel by the time I got to P-2. The Swords Machine was awful. Swords Machine, ugh. I had to do both phases because I didn't want to accidentally pick up the shotgun. So I went for the first phase. That was relatively fine. But for some reason, the second phase just was a lot more annoying. Oh yeah, by the way, the schisms, they were just, ugh, because you can't just kill them with a single ricochet or just by firing your gun. It takes multiple, so they just became an annoyance throughout the entire run. 0-4 was relatively okay. I used this Maurice to blow up all of the filth that I didn't want to shoot, and then killed the Maurice. Overall, 0-4 was pretty fine. Because of the end arena having a bunch of glass panels on the floor, I could just trick enemies into falling down into the grinder below. Pretty easy. .05 was not a terrible challenge. It really just required me to aim at his head and fire, which I got pretty good at, but 0-5 kind of was just cementing myself questioning whether I wanted to do this anymore. And, yeah, I was definitely questioning by this point. But, overall, Cerberus was fine. One was drones. That's all I gotta say for 1-1 is drones. These annoying drones would be one of the banes of my existence for the entire rest of this challenge. I just hated drones for the entirety of this challenge. They were definitely worse throughout the Limbo layers, but my god, these guys were awful. I hated them. 1-2 was same old, same old. The beginning sections were just 1-1 plus, and the street cleaners weren't terribly bad. It just seemed like I couldn't hit the instant kill. I just couldn't seem to get the coin to hit the instant kill gas canister on their back. I don't know what was going on. It just didn't seem like I could actually hit the canister. I don't know. Something about it. Or maybe my aim was off just because of this gun. Man, it was awful. Oh, yeah, this final arena was not fun either. Yeah. 1-3 was the cause of the first of many deaths throughout this entire run. It was... Ooh, man. It was something. And, yeah. Because I wanted to get S rank kills, I did both the blue path and the red path. And as you can tell, I did not have a good time. By the end, I didn't even do Agony and Tundra because I just was so tuckered out. I went to Hideous Mass and defeated him. I don't even remember how bad the Hideous Mass was. I was just so tired and wanted to get this entire thing over with. So yeah, 1-3 was so bad. One 4 with V2. You see, because I don't have the feedbacker, I can't just do the coin thing where I absolutely skip the boss fight. So I actually had to fight him. And it took a fair amount of tries to actually do it because I just could not hit them. I couldn't hit the red little guy and it was actually awful. And I realized by looking at the footage that at this point I was actually starting to get used to the alt marksman, which is not something that you really want to hear or see really. It still was very limiting having the alt marksman, and I would much rather have the regular marksman fighting V2 than the alt marksman. It was awful. But the alt marksman does hit singular enemies multiple times, so it made some encounters with bosses more or less easier. But oh boy, can it be really awful in some circumstances. But yeah, V2, not fun. 2-1 was fine. It wasn't terribly fun, and it wasn't terribly awful. It was just a middle of the road kind of level. The beginning parts were better than the later parts because, especially with the Maurice at the very end, it was a little bit more difficult. But for the most part, this level was just fine. Also, apparently I missed an enemy or something. I don't care. I'm not going through this level again. 2-2. Soldiers. The Requiem leitmotif made this... Well, it made this better. Not great. The ending was difficult. Also, I had to pick up the rail cannon, and I ended up just, like, having it in my inventory for, like, a fair few amount of levels. And I didn't even realize it, but I just had it in my inventory for a fair amount of time. So, there we go. 2-3. Not terribly difficult. Although, the Mind Flayer definitely became a problem throughout the rest of this run. Though, they wouldn't become the only problem, as you'll see later, because, oh boy, Mind Flayers were nothing compared to some of the Violent Slayer enemies. I'll just say that. Also, apparently, some of you guys thought that this Mind Flayer's a boss. It's not. You can just, like, look and see it doesn't have a health bar. I don't know. I just got a lot of comments on my, what your favorite Ultrakill boss says about you, saying that I missed a Mind Flayer boss, but nope, no Mind Flayer boss. I checked. Guess how much fun I had in 2-4, because it was not fun. Not at all. You know, you usually Like, you usually think that the Corpse of King Minos is a really easy boss fight because you always parry the fist. But when you don't have that ability, he actually becomes a little bit challenging. Especially for the fact that I couldn't really get parries from him for healing. So I would have to go up to his hands and just shoot him a couple times in hopes that I would be able to get all of my health back. I had to focus my shots on his eyes to get as much damage as possible so I didn't get absolutely clapped within a few seconds. One was more of a challenge, basically asking me whether I wanted to actually go through with this challenge or not. And oh man, I was really questioning my decision after this level. It was, especially the Mind Flayers. Mind Flayers were the real challenge towards like these levels, and like Wrath. They were like the biggest challenge through those layers. But yeah, I think most of the damage was emotional because I realized I had to do P-1 soon. Gabriel was more of a challenge than I expected. I honestly thought that I would be able to easily clap Gabriel, but nope, apparently not. I was clapped myself. So, yeah, apparently, even with the Alt Marksman's ability to hit an enemy multiple times, it did not help with Gabriel. Not both of the fights. I'll just say that. It was not a help. And, yeah, so a good chunk of my time was just spent dodging Gabriel before I could get enough coins to do significant damage against him. It was more of a waiting battle for me. Anyways, let's get to the fun part, P1. The true challenge of P1, Flesh Prison. My god, Flesh Prison. I don't think I've ever hated this boss fight more than doing this challenge because he was a mess. I mean, really, not being able to shoot, I wasn't able to shoot like half as quickly as I do with the normal marksman, able to just shoot the eyes out of the sky. And also, I couldn't like split the coins to hit multiple eyes at the same time. So I was basically just hitting one at a time. Sometimes the tiny Marisas would kill a couple other eyes, which was definitely beneficial. But my god, it took so long to get past Flesh Prison. It was annoying. Minos, I'm pretty sure I did first try. Yeah, I did. I remember I did it first try because he was just that much easier than Flesh Prison. I remember. It was just a relief to fight Minos instead of Flesh Prison. I don't think I've really ever said that before, but I do not like Flesh Prison. Just say that. This is nothing new. Alright, let's do a speed round with Greed. 4-1 was fine. The Virtues took a couple of shots, but they weren't that bad. But it did open my third eye to realize that the dual wield was not going to be a help in this entire challenge, because it basically just meant that I was doing twice the amount of damage to one single enemy. The coins would not split to multiple enemies, so I was just shooting at a single one. So whenever I threw up my coin, it would just end up hitting a filth or something. 4-2. Do you realize how hard the Insurrectionist is without weapons that deal fire damage? Because, my god, this guy is a bullet sponge without, like, the overheat nail gun, or core eject shotgun, or projectile boosting, or the rocket launcher. Like, this guy is a pain. Oh my god, man. 4-3. 4-3 was 4-3. Nothing really too bad. The final arena wasn't as horrible as I expected it to be, but not great. And 4-4. Just imagine 1-4, but like 3 times as bad. Because I died so many times on V1's like first phase. As soon as I got through that, I just went down the pyramid and absolutely destroyed him. It was a relief. My goodness. The water physics in 5-1 did not help as, well, it just messed up my coin shots and... It just messed up my coin shots, and I ended up struggling in 5-1 as a result. So, yeah, it was, not great, to say the least. Oh, yeah. Yeah, also, sentries. Sentries were fine. Jeez! (5-2) was good, actually. I actually had a little bit of fun, you know? A little bit. The room where the idols are hidden behind glass was a bit annoying because the coins would always go to the street cleaner and not the soldiers, but other than that, the Ferryman was a fine boss fight. No real problems to speak of. 5-3's main challenge came from the red path's big open room with the Maurices and then the Mind Flayer. That was the biggest challenge, and the dual wield room, because I already explained why the dual wield is not great in in this challenge, but it wasn't that bad. I expected the Leviathan to be a bigger challenge than he actually was. It really just came down to me shooting all of the weak points and eventually getting the one weak point on top of his head, dealing a massive amount of damage. I really do feel like the Leviathan should get a buff of some kind. Don't know, maybe like an extra attack or something, but I feel like the Leviathan is a little bit too easy. Even in this challenge. Which is saying something, because I'm using the alt Marksman. I actually didn't realize I did it damageless until now. 6-1! The biggest challenge of 6-1 was this opening room with the 2 Maurices and the Swords Machine. Sure, there was that final arena, but that wasn't that hard. Yeah, 6-1 was a little bit of a pushover for this challenge. It was either me getting, like, fully used to the alt Marksman, again, not a good thing, or just, I don't know, I played this level a fair amount of times, so I guess I'm just used to it. 6-2, Gabriel. It was about as bad as 3-2. I don't really think much had changed. I guess I was just like etching to get most of this over with, even though, you know, I still had P2 to get to. But Gabriel just didn't seem that just didn't seem that bad. I don't know. Not much to say here. And now the part everybody's been waiting for, P2. P2 sucked. I didn't realize it until I got there, but the idle Mind Flayers were so bad because relying on a weapon that uses coins, and like the biggest thing of the alt Marksman is the coins, right? Or just like shooting enemies. The coins would always go to the idle Mind Flayers, and I couldn't like pull out the rail cannon, so it would just go to a non-idled enemy. So it was like half of my coin shots went to the idle Mind Flayers. Oh, and the 2 insurrectionists, they were hell. I don't even know what happened. I think one of them just like, one of them killed the other one, so I only had to deal with one. That was like a relief. And that final arena, and every enemy got sanded, so I couldn't even heal for the entirety of the final arena. Panopticon, not bad, you know, it's basically just a cinematic. Oh gosh, Sisyphus. You know, I beat Sisyphus with just the Knuckle Blaster, right? So I thought this would be easy. It was not easy. This was awful. I did like 20 or something attempts against this guy, and it was pure insanity. I don't even know how I got through it. It was just pure will and determination. But yeah, if my advice is if you're going to do this, skip P2. It's not worth it. And that's it. That's all I had to do, right? Yeah, I beat Sisyphus. Yeah, I feel like I'm missing something. Oh yeah, the Violent Slayer. Alright, I'll keep this one short, because this video is already like 20 minutes long. 7-1 was fine, but the mannequins were a little bit annoying, because you couldn't just kill them with one coin shot, you'd actually have to shoot them twice. So, mannequins were a little bit annoying. 7-1 was overall decently difficult. The Minotaur was definitely not great, because I couldn't parry to deal a significant amount of damage, which I've just recently figured out. And, yeah, it was, not the greatest. But, you know what was worse? Stupid Guttermen. I hate the Guttermen after this, man. The Guttermen are awful, because all of the coins would just, they just don't hit, because of the shield, it covers all of their spots. So half the time, I would just have to shoot them through where the shield isn't. Can Discord stop pinging? I would just keep shooting them, right? And they have, like, so much health. I tested this in 7-4. It took, like, a 22 headshot combo for them to die. They have so much ridiculous amount of health when you are just using the alt Marksman. The alt Marksman is garbage, man. Oh my gosh. Gutter tanks were fine, except for in this final arena. This final arena, there were two arenas. This one where the Gutterman gets sanded. I don't want to say how many times I died in there because it'd be embarrassing. But this final arena was the worst. I've got to say, it was awful. And man, oh man, did it feel so good when I got past it. 7-2 was the worst. 7-3 was decent, alright? Because I basically, after the hell that was 7-2, I just held back and watched as most of the enemies killed each other, and then went in and finished the job. And after that, I would just go in and do the blood tree stuff and move on. The final arena with the dual wield, was the only time that the dual wield was useful, because it actually dealt multiple times damage to Guttermen and Gutter tanks. You know, when I could hit them. But, wow, yeah, it was, yeah. 7-4. Did you know that the brain can get idled multiple times? Because I didn't know that until now. It was actually a blessing in disguise, because I couldn't parry the brain, so I would just have to wait until the idols came back for me to heal. But, man, that final arena with the timer, I left that arena with 10 seconds on the clock. I was scared, man. It was terrifying. I was about to be like, is this the first time that I'm going to explode within the Benjamin? I actually don't know what happens when you when the timer runs out when you're inside of the Benjamin, but I'll have to test that out in the future. But yeah, that's it. That's the entirety of Ultrakill with the alt Marksman, and I could confidently say, 100% certainty, this is the worst weapon in the game. Hakita, buff it, please. It needs a buff. I know one thing's for certain. I'm never using this thing again. Never. I am traumatized. Subscribe so that I can regain some of my mental health.